I'm your number one fan.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
My mom and dad are gonna be...
I see dead people.
Hello.
Hi.
Happy Tuesday, innit?
Oh. Ooh. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to the Killer Cuties podcast.
That's us.
I want to clip the face you just made.
Oh.
You were malfunctioning.
Oh, God.
It's good. I hope that the thing that we use, I guess, to record, it'll do like a snapshot of our recording for the episode, and I hope that it chooses the face that you just made.
That face. Ugh.
Yeah. It's really good at picking the worst face you made throughout the entire episode.
Yeah, it really does a good job. Making you look like absolute trash.
Yeah. The worst you've ever looked, that's the thumbnail. Every time.
Well, there we go. I gave it fodder. Now we can really test it.
Yeah.
Anyway. It's been a couple weeks since we've done news.
I know.
News.
News.
And we still don't really have any, but we're going to try.
We're making the best of the situation that we're in. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I'll go first.
Okay.
We got some details about Night Bitch.
Hell yeah.
Upcoming.
Upcoming.
What the fuck was that? And then I just spit. Did you see me spit?
No.
God damn.
We gotta get ourselves together.
We gotta stop doing news.
Yeah. Canceled. We can't do this anymore.
Anyway, I'm gonna start over.
Okay.
We got some details about Night Bitch.
Oh my god, cool.
This is the first you're hearing about it.
This is brand new information.
It's an upcoming horror comedy starring Amy Adams and directed by Marielle Heller. These are some plot details, so if you don't want to hear them, feel free to skip ahead 30 seconds or so. It's been revealed that the main character is a suburban mother raising a toddler while slowly turning into a dog.
Oh.
Yeah. The director describes it as a comedy for women and a horror for men.
Oh, I love that genre.
Yeah, my favorite genre. It's coming to theaters December 6th of this year, and it's rated R for language and sexuality. So no gore, doesn't sound like.
Love that. All right.
Yeah. Cute.
Cool. Exciting.
Mm-hmm.
A couple weeks ago, we mentioned that Tina Romero, who is the daughter of George A. Romero, we did a Dawn of the Dead episode, but obviously Night of the Living Dead, Day of the Dead, all of the Deads is him. She is directing a zombie movie called Queens of the Dead, sticking to that family tradition.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the cast has been announced. So we've got Katie O'Brien from Love Lies Bleeding that came out this year. We've got comedian Margaret Cho. We've got Cheyenne Jackson from American Horror Story. And Bridget Lundy Payne from I Saw the TV Glow.
Yay!
Yeah. So definitely kind of a... Yeah. It's quite the ensemble.
Mm-hmm. A motley crew, if you will.
Oh. I've heard that said.
Bet you have. One more for me. 2024 is the year of the insane popcorn bucket, I fear.
Yeah.
We've gotten some weird-ass popcorn buckets. I don't know what happened to the bucket-shaped buckets with pictures on them, but those are a thing of the past.
Yeah.
We had the weird fleshlight Dune bucket, and then, like, total opposite side of the spectrum, we had the bucket that came with a baby carrier for Despicable Me 4. I don't know if you saw that one.
Yeah.
Well, now we have Xenomorph Head Bucket and Face Hugger Hugging a Bucket bucket.
Love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that, like, Dune has kind of inspired people to get creative with their buckets.
It did start with Dune.
It absolutely did. After everybody wanted to fuck the bucket, they were like, what a marketing ploy. And everybody's doing it. I think Deadpool's doing something like that, too.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah. And the Xenomorph Head Bucket and the Face Hugger Hugging a Bucket,
yeah,
I'd fuck either of them. Very fuckable. Buckets.
Yeah.
Anyway, head to your local Regal or Cinemark if you're interested in either of those buckets.
Okay.
Fuckets.
Fuck it. All right. Last one for me. Not as fun as a bucket fuck it, but Charlize Theron is set to star in an upcoming Netflix thriller called Apex. We don't know a lot about the plot because they're kind of trying to keep it under wraps, but it's being described as Free Solo meets Silence of the Lambs.
What the fuck?
I don't know. It's going to be a story following a rock climber who finds herself getting hunted in the wild. So, it sounds more like
Free Solo meets something else.
Yeah, the most dangerous game or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Right, where they hunt people.
Yeah.
That one episode of Supernatural. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Or Ready or Not.
Or Ready or Not. Wow, what a segue.
Which, by the way, is what we're here to talk about.
Whoa! Take us away with the review, Katie.
Oh, should I already?
Oh, do you have more news?
No, I'm ready.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm raring to go.
Okay, let's go.
Let's do it.
Quick review of the film. Not review. Overview?
Overview?
Yeah. A summary.
I said it first, then you said what I said. It's my fault.
I trusted you.
Big mistake.
Yeah. Ready or Not is a 2019 horror comedy directed by Tyler Gillette and Matt Bettinelli-Alpin, starring Samara Weaving as Grace, who is marrying her husband Alex, played by Mark O'Brien. On the evening of their wedding, Alex reveals a family tradition in which Grace needs to draw a card, revealing a game she has to play with her new family of in-laws. After drawing the hide-and-seek card, Grace is hunted down by the family, who hopes to sacrifice her as part of a long-standing satanic ritual. The movie had a $6 million budget and made $57.6 million at the box office, and it has a 6.9 out of 10 on IMDb, and an 89% critics and 78% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Hell yeah.
I only messed up a couple times.
I think you did great. Didn't even
Thank you.
notice.
Thank you so much.
I don't know if you remember this, but I think it was back in April. In our
I don't even
horror-
remember what I had for breakfast.
Great. So let me refresh your memory. Back in April, I think it was March or April. One of our horror newses was that this movie was getting a sequel.
Oh, fun!
Yeah, so they're writing it. And I remember when I said that news, I was like, yeah, having seen the ending, I'm not real sure where they're going to go from here. And I hope now you understand why I said that, because
Now, I do.
it seems like the story's over.
It does.
Yeah.
Has
But I guess
anybody
we'll see.
been confirmed on the cast or anything, or are they still writing it?
I don't think so. I think it's still very, very pre-production.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. Also, you might not recognize their names specifically. Do you know who the directors are? Did you look them up at all?
Nope.
Okay, well, they're part of Radio Silence, and they have done the 1031 segment on VHS.
Oh.
Yeah, so we watched that.
Yeah.
And then they're also behind Scream 5 and 6.
Oh.
Yeah.
I knew about Scream 6 because somebody has a cameo in this movie, and they also have a credit for Scream 6.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, and Adam Brody was in Scream 4. Not connected to them, but still Scream referenced.
Samara Weaving was also in Scream 6.
Yeah. And then
Right?
also the guy who plays the dad. I can't remember his name. Henry Czerny. He plays
Interesting.
the dad in this, but he played the therapist in Scream 6.
Oh, nice.
So 3 Scream actors.
Nice.
Bada bing, bada boom.
I mean, Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know what I was going to say.
Great.
Because Scream's not really a horror comedy. I was going to say, oh, they really know how to find their horror comedy people, but they're not. It's not really a comedy. It's like
You don't think
like
Scream is a comedy?
I think it's funny.
Yeah, on purpose. That's
Oh, okay, good.
a
Okay,
comedy.
then yeah, horror comedy.
Did you not know
Baby.
Scream was trying to be funny?
I don't know. I guess not.
It's like absolute. It's very much a satire. We talked about that in the episode.
Oh. Well, they did a good job.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna have to work on you in comedies, I think.
I liked this one. Oh, spoiler. But I
That's
mean,
okay.
this one
Who doesn't?
worked.
Who doesn't like this movie? Come on.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Well, 20% of people on Rotten Tomatoes audience don't.
Yeah. Well,
They're wrong.
they didn't get it.
They didn't get it.
If anybody ever doesn't like a movie that you like, just say they didn't get it.
Yeah.
They didn't understand it.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Should we
what about
rate
fun
it?
facts? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Just
let's go.
kidding.
Let's go. Shortest episode ever.
15
No,
minutes.
the fun facts. Let's talk about some fun facts. I'll go first. Grace was originally supposed to die.
Yeah.
They rewrote it like 20 times. She was
They did.
supposed to die originally.
Yep, she was gonna get sacrificed.
I'm glad that she didn't, because the exploding people was my favorite part.
Yeah.
I loved when they started exploding.
I think it's funny because usually that type of ending wouldn't be my favorite. Because, you know, it's that whole setup of like, is this curse actually real or not? And then it turns out being real. Typically, I'm like, oh, I like more ambiguity, or like, you know, I prefer reality to supernatural. But in this instance, it kind of has to end that way. Because otherwise, how does she get out of that? They're still going to want to try to kill her if the curse isn't real. And B, because of how zany and funny the movie is, it just fits so perfectly with it.
Yeah.
Like, of course you would have this just absolutely fucking bonkers ending to the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so glad that they didn't open the curtain and everybody started like melting or something. That would have been so unfunny. So I'm glad they even like poked fun at it. Like everybody was like cringing, like, oh no.
Yep. And then
And then
nothing
they just
happens.
started exploding.
Oh yeah.
That
The
was
mom and
great.
the two kids running out of the room and then the explosions happening.
Yes.
So good.
Perfect. I was wondering how they were going to handle the kids exploding, and that was just a perfect way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I went to see this in theaters with one of my friends when it first came out. And it got done, and he just looks at me and he's like, what the fuck was that? It's like, what just fucking happened?
Oh my god.
And I was just laughing. I was so excited.
Yeah. It was such a fun little romp of a way to end a movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I hope, kind of to your point earlier, I hope that what they do is one of the previous ceremonies.
Oh, you want a prequel?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
Okay.
Like the ants ceremony or something.
Almost want to say that Samara Weaving, they've already said that they want to work with her again.
Which they should.
Yeah, and I feel like she said she would do it too. I don't want to say she's confirmed for the sequel, but I think that's what they said, was they were going towards that route.
Well, I love that for her. I love that for us.
Yeah. But also, we kind of already saw, I mean, they'd have to go way back for another one, right? Because they said they've only done that one time since most of those people were in the family. And it's that flashback that we get. So it's...
Yeah. It couldn't have been that far because the brother was there. And I mean, both of the brothers were there. And they were only like, what, 30? So maybe 20 years, 30 years?
Yeah. But I'm just, that's, you know, doesn't happen often.
I guess. We'll see.
Which, I kind of want to know what happens if they don't pull the card. Because obviously, like, some of his siblings are married. People had married into this family. So did they just play Monopoly and then...
That's what they said.
Oh, okay, and now also we kill people if you pick the wrong game? How do they talk to them about it?
Oh, that I don't know. Because maybe they just talked to... I mean,
I know they play the game, but like,
brother-in-law
how does the
plays Old
conversation... Yeah, how does the conversation come up after that?
Yeah.
You're just like,
hey,
oh,
by the
you
way,
played the game, so now your soul is indebted forever to this guy, and if we don't kill someone, if they pick hide and seek, then we all die. We explode.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think they knew they exploded, but
No, but they knew that they all died, which is crazy because I don't think marrying into a family and they told me that, I would just be like, oh, yeah, okay. I believe that. I'll murder someone. That's cool. I mean, I wouldn't do that anyway because, you know, I'm a good person.
I mean, you do what you gotta do.
Yeah, I guess that's the suspend your belief type of situation, you know, where it's like they do it because it's a movie.
Yeah.
They had 17 different versions of the wedding dress that Grace wore.
Insane.
Yeah, Avery Pluez, I think, was the costume designer, and they wanted to show the progress of Grace's night and how her clothes kind of. I just saw you delete that fact from your
How?
That was so funny.
How? I was deleting my facts while you were talking. I mean, I also deleted that fact, but
I know, it's just because I do the same thing, so I knew what you were doing.
no, sorry.
But I just saw your arm like reach up, and then I heard a click. I was like, there it goes.
Sorry.
No, I loved that. Anyways, that's a little behind the scenes fun fact for everybody. But yeah, they wanted to show like how the clothes kind of corresponded with what's happening to her and how she feels about everything that's going on. So it kind of gets wilder and more messy as the night goes on. And 17, that's a lot.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Oh, shit. The biggest struggle of this podcast is deciding whether or not, when you say a fact that I have written down, if I pretend like I do know it or I pretend like I don't.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, not pretend like I know it, because I do know it, because it's written on my paper.
Yeah.
But, you know.
We really got to just start scripting this out.
Yeah, podcasting, man. But then I don't want it to feel scripted, you know what I mean? I feel like sometimes you can tell when I used to listen to, like, true crime podcasts all the time. I know. But, but
How
there was one that I
2002 of
listened
you.
to. I know. 2002. It was like 2013. That was like peak true crime podcasts.
2013?
13, 14, yeah.
In college?
Yeah, because that's when I listened to Serial, and that's how everything started. Serial introduced a whole generation to true crime podcasts.
I didn't realize it was that long ago. I only started listening to podcasts like right out of COVID.
Oh, Jesus. And you thought for 20 years we've been doing this?
Dunno.
You didn't think it was that long ago, is what you said, but then you thought it was in 2002, not 10 years after that.
Wait, what?
You were like, I didn't think it was that long ago, but you thought it was 2002.
No, I thought it was 2022.
You literally said 2002.
I said fresh out of COVID.
That's what you
22.
When
Roll
you
it back.
first said it, you
Roll
said 2002.
it back. 22.
I can't wait to clip this part later.
Can't wait either.
I'm also like not very good at hearing, so it's probably me. But I could have swore you said 2002, and that's why I was like, no, way later.
No, that was the joke because you were like, when I was listening to true crime, like 2 years ago, that was the joke.
Oh. Yeah, no, this was like 10 years ago when I was super into it.
Well,
sorry.
No, that's all right.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
I don't remember.
Why did you bring this up?
Oh, because one of them was really scripted, and you could tell.
Oh, yeah. Most of them are.
I know, but this one was like bad.
Ew.
Yeah. Anyways.
Couldn't be us.
No.
Andy McDowell, who plays the mom,
Yes.
or the mother-in-law, I guess.
Yeah.
Becky.
Great.
She ad-libbed most of her comedic lines, including "Holy dick."
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, me too.
That was genuine. I didn't have that written down.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no. That iconic line,
That's a good
which,
one.
by the way, do not try to Google that line.
Mm-hmm.
Ready or
Yeah.
not, holy dick. Do not Google that. Oh god, she's Googling it.
Mine is just articles about it.
Oh. Do you have safe search on?
Sure don't. Not even in the images. It's all of the movie.
Oh.
I think you need to check your algorithm, girly.
I built my FYP brick by brick.
Yeah, Bricked is right.
Ooh.
Oh, another kind of costuming thing.
Mm.
Because I talked about the dress.
Mhm.
But her yellow Converse Chuck Taylor sneakers were custom painted for the film because they didn't make that color. I think they might sell it now, though, because I went to their website and they have yellow Converse now.
Well, they were selling them and then they stopped and then they had to paint them.
That's what I'm saying.
And so now they're selling them again?
I think they're selling them again. Although hers are kind of like a mustardy color, aren't they?
I really like that color. It's a good color.
Yeah, they're not like yellow. And the ones on the website were pretty yellow.
Oh, okay.
So maybe they still don't sell the mustard ones. But you'd think that there would be a rise in a want for those. Because I remember when this movie came out, and a lot of people went for her as Halloween. Not a lot, but I saw people dressed as her.
Which, by the way, her wedding dress is exactly my wedding dress.
Really?
Yeah, I had the, bodice, and then that was the dress I bought, was the bodice and the big, fluffy skirt with a petticoat underneath it. And then we attached a, turtlenecky 3/4 sleeve lace thing to it.
Yeah.
And then added a ribbon. But the only difference is that my ribbon was pink. It was like a coral color.
Coral.
Instead of satin white.
Yeah. Coral was also height of 2014.
I didn't get married in 2014.
Podcasts and coral and mint. That was...
My wedding was coral and mint.
I know.
In
Everybody's
2018.
Well, you're a little late to the party, but it extended. I went to a coral and mint wedding in 2016, so...
It's still before mine.
Yeah, well... We can't all be hit to the fashion, Katie.
Maybe that's why everybody hated my wedding.
Oh, that's so sad.
Couldn't
I
believe
would've
how
loved
dry
it.
it was.
Oh.
We
I
had
would
an
not
after party.
thrive.
We
Oh,
had
great,
an after
okay.
It was wine only.
Oh, I can get turned on some wine. Don't you worry.
Wine and a 3x6 table of charcuterie. Multiple layers.
Oh, okay.
Three heights.
Love that.
6 feet by 3 feet.
I would have been
Charcuterie.
fine.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
So, yeah,
was the
because
best.
I've gone to weddings where it's, they'll have open bar, or, I guess, no, cash bar.
Mhm.
But then they'll have free beer and wine.
Oh,
so,
yeah, okay.
Free beer and
Yeah.
wine, cash for alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Or, liquor.
Yeah.
And I just go up and I get a Pinot Grigio with some Sprite added in. And it tastes just like champagne. And let me tell you what, the one wedding I'm thinking of that I did that at, I was the drunkest person there. So it can be done. And if it can be done, I'm going to be the one to do it.
That all checks out.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Drink responsibly.
Yeah. We don't condone underage drinking or
I was of
excessive
age.
drinking
Yeah,
or
yeah, just drink responsibly.
drinking and driving.
Yeah, I did not drive. I was on a 14-mile long island. Wasn't really anywhere for me to go.
Huh.
Yeah. That
Anyway.
was where the proposal is set. Yeah.
In Alaska?
I was in Sitka, Alaska.
Sitka?
Damn straight.
Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we've talked about the proposal a lot recently.
I know. It keeps
You went-
sneaking its way into our lives.
80 episodes without talking about it, and then here we are, 2 episodes in a row.
I know. It's how life happens, you know?
Yeah.
Anyways, speaking of fashion,
Okay.
I think Grace kind of, honestly, they did a great job at kind of instantly turning her into a pretty iconic final girl, right?
Okay, yeah.
Because that last scene of her just smoking a cigarette drenched in blood outside the house is just, mwah, it's so
Yeah.
cool. Every girl wants to be her. But I
Mm-hmm.
also think she was kind of a final girl who was built for millennials who thought peak fashion was wearing Converse with like dresses,
Yeah.
you know? AKA me in middle school. And you know what? I don't hate it. I still
Yeah.
love Converse. Always have, always will.
I wore like Chuck-like
Yeah, I
shoes.
wore the knockoffs because I was poor, but
Yeah. Same. Well,
but I still
same.
loved them. I wanted, I wanted the real ones.
Yeah. Everybody
Yeah,
did.
I know. You know what did it for me? I'm gonna pull in another random movie here. It was the scene in I, Robot where they're in the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Will Smith is like, "Oh, I got like these vintage Chucks," and he opens them up and wears them for the whole movie. And that it was the moment where like he thought they were so cool that he had these vintage Chucks and stuff. But obviously they were from our time, but they were vintage for him because he's in the future. And I don't know why. That's the only time I've ever been like, branding. They got me because I thought they were cool ever since then.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen that movie in forever. That's like a
Yeah.
hotel movie. You watch it in a hotel. It's like on late at night.
Alan Tudyk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he plays Sonny.
I love him.
Yeah, me too.
Anyway, back to this movie.
Great.
How many movies can you slip in that aren't Ready or Not? I'll give you
stretch.
another one.
I can get some more.
The estate that they filmed in
Yep.
is the same estate they used in Billy Madison.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of them, yes. Yeah, so the exterior shots were of Parkwood Estates in Oshawa, Ontario, Canada.
Okay.
And that is what's used in Billy Madison. But then a lot of the interior was filmed at Casa Loma in Toronto. Toronto?
Depends on where you're from.
Toronto. One time I messaged our Canadian friend, Michelle. She was on an episode way back. And, and I was like, hey, how do people say Toronto? Because I have to say it in an episode. And she gave me 9 different ways and then never confirmed which one. So
Yeah.
I still think about that a lot. Anyways. But yes, it's called Casa Loma, and it's a designated heritage property. It's a museum. It's open to the public for most of the time. And that's why in the bedroom scene, they were only allowed to touch certain things, and they couldn't, like, do a lot in that room because it's, a heritage property.
Interesting.
Yeah, but other movies were filmed there. Here we go. I'm bringing more in. Ready?
Okay.
X-Men, The Pacifier, Crimson Peak.
Wow.
All filmed there. Yeah.
Crazy.
I know. Crazy. But yeah, so look at that. We just got 4 more movies.
4 more movies. That's
Yeah,
like
so-
6 now.
Yeah. So exterior and interior were pretty much covered there. I think the only set that they actually built was the goat pit.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
Ugh. Gross.
You don't like that part?
The hand.
Yeah.
The nail through the hand.
Mm-hmm.
If it had just been like the nail through the hand,
Yeah.
that would have been okay. Like it would have still been bad.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was a nail through the gunshot wound in the hand,
Yeah.
that really bothered me.
See, that almost made it better for me.
Why? Because there was already a hole?
Yeah.
No.
So at least you're not creating a new hole. It still would suck. But at least it's, already got a straight shot.
Ugh. It's giving me heartburn.
That was also, so it was CGI. And they were worried that it wasn't going to look good and that it wasn't going to sell it very well.
Mm-hmm.
And they watched Samara Weaving's performance and they were like, yeah, that's good. That'll do it.
That'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was very, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a little scream queen. Love her.
She is.
And she's got a great scream.
She does. Yeah. She does a really good job portraying pain and fear.
Her, like, wailing scream at the end. Ooh.
Yeah.
Courses through your veins.
Yeah, I like her a lot.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm going to play like... New Nepo baby acquired. She's a Nepo baby.
Samara Weaving.
Her uncle's Hugo.
Mm-hmm.
From Lord of the Rings and the Matrix.
Yeah.
And like a billion other things. Those are the most important ones.
Yeah, he's done some things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you might like that.
I do. I really do. Fun prop fact.
Props.
There's a lot of fun
props.
like visual and effects facts for this one.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite one is that despite all of the candelabras in the house, so many of them, there were only 5 prop candelabras used in the film. They just kept moving them around everywhere.
Do you think they had like a candelabra wrangler?
I hope so. Oh, that'd be so fun. I remember when I learned the word candelabra, I would not stop using it. It was around the time of my Phantom of the Opera phase.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah. It's a good word.
Yeah. They had a goat wrangler.
Oh, they would have to. All those
They
goats?
would have to. They would have to. Well, they weren't actually going to use a real goat for the scene where it scares her into the pit.
Okay.
They were just going to use a puppet.
Okay.
And then they saw it and they were like, we can't. No, that's not going to work. And the goat wranglers were like, we can do that. That's fine. So they just
Aw.
had the goat actually do it.
Cute.
Yeah.
I love goats.
Who doesn't?
Well, a lot of people. A lot of people don't like their
Really?
eyes.
Oh, I guess that makes
They have-
sense because they think, and they're kind of associated with Satan a lot.
Yeah, well, mm,
Like in this one.
yeah. But they also have vertical pupils. People don't like that.
Don't cats too?
No.
Oh.
Octopi.
Oh.
Or is it vertical that's weird, or is it horizontal that's weird? Let me look. It's horizontal that's weird, not vertical.
Okay, I was like, cats have vertical eyes, right? Did I make that up?
Cats have vertical, yes.
Okay, so
Goats
I was
have,
right.
which is normal. People like that. Horizontal eyes is what bothers people. Goats have that, and so do
Made me
octopi.
think I didn't know about cat eyes.
Octopi have horizontal eyes. They have goat eyes.
Okay. Maybe that's why they're associated with Satan.
Because of their eyes.
They're weird little eyes.
Well, they're also little assholes.
Yeah, that's why I like them. Yeah. I like that
Anyway.
This is the second movie we've watched where Adam Brody is sacrificing people to Satan.
What?
Jennifer's body.
Oh my god, I didn't even recognize him.
Yeah, same guy.
Oh my god.
Did you not know this was Adam Brody the whole time?
No, I had no idea. I mean, I knew it was Adam Brody. I didn't know who that was.
Wait.
I did not recognize him at all. I didn't look him up.
Okay. Oh. It's weird to me that you don't know him by name.
What else is he in?
He was in Gilmore Girls. He was in the
Never watched
OC.
Gilmore.
Like,
Never
he
watched
was
OC.
definitely. I didn't watch that as a kid either, but I still knew who he was. He was everywhere.
He does have a familiar face. I just didn't. It didn't
Yeah.
click. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he seems like a guy, like an actor that a lot of millennials know, which is why it's weird that you don't know it. You know what I mean?
So is he Alex or is he the brother?
He's the brother.
Yeah, he's the one that I said I thought had a familiar face. So yeah, okay, that checks out. I couldn't like pinpoint. I was like,
Yeah.
you look familiar, but it's like, well, who's Adam Brody?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, but
No, no.
I believe
Sorry.
you.
Sorry, Adam.
Poor Adam Brody.
Yeah.
I find him very attractive, so.
He's not good looking, that's for sure.
No. He's cute in this.
Yeah. I wish he hadn't died.
Me too.
Do you think that he also exploded? Or was he already dead, so he didn't explode?
Maybe he didn't because he was already dead. I don't know. If he did, what a weird scenario. Like, how do you explain that to the police? Because there's no bodies. There's just blood and guts everywhere.
Yeah.
This feels like another example of the movie ending, and you're like, they're going to jail.
Yeah.
That's not a situation. Although, she probably has a pretty good chance because there's that whole goat pit full of bodies. So I think she
And
could
she's
probably
hurt.
be like, yeah, she's injured. And she could be like, go look at the goat pit. They've been trying to kill people for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry I exploded them, but what were we supposed to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed like she made a friend out of the guy that made them all start killing everybody, though. Maybe she could have made him appear for the police, and the police would have been like, oh, yeah, that's true. It all happened.
Yeah.
Like, corroborated the story for her, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's hard to tell, though, like, I don't know if he's actually a friend.
Or if he's just, like, acknowledging that she won.
Yeah. I think it was more that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he takes people's souls and then tells them to kill people who... I'm assuming that he makes the game come up when someone who does not fit into the family is brought in. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Because she's obviously not cool with what's going on, but
Yeah.
all of the other married-in people seem very fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if he senses that they're too pure of heart, and that's
Yeah.
why they have to go or something.
Well,
that's kind of what
fun.
I get. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it could also have something to do with, like, a hesitancy on the person who's in the family's part, too.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously the aunt was hesitant. Like, she was very sad when her husband died.
Mm-hmm.
And then Alex is kind of trying to distance himself from the family.
Yeah.
But you can fucking tell. I
What
mean,
was
they do
the
a good job
line-
at foreshadowing.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, you don't fucking trust Alex the whole
Well,
time.
what was the line about him, like, running the family?
Yeah, so that was the aunt. And that was, like, I think just part of the foreshadowing that he was
That he was
gonna turn on her.
terrible.
Yeah, was her kind of saying, I can see it. He's like me. He's just got to accept his fate and be one with the family.
Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, my favorite scene, though, was of her and the, like, the maid, like, gurgling in the background, and she keeps interrupting the aunt. Oh my god. I was peeing myself laughing. This is by far the funniest movie we've watched.
I think this movie is really funny.
Yeah.
And even watching, I've seen this movie quite a few times, but even watching it today, earlier, when the second maid walks in and gets immediately shot, it's just
Yes.
like, I laughed out loud again. It's funny.
Well, she's the one that gurgles.
Yeah, right
the
after
floor.
that is the gurglings.
Yeah. So funny, yeah. That whole scene
Yeah.
got me. Tickled me.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the foreshadowing. I feel like the foreshadowing was kind of obvious. Like, I don't think it's super surprising that Alex turns on her, and it's not surprising that Daniel helps her. I think both of those are foreshadowed really well. But one of my favorite, like, tiny ones is that in the montage of the family preparing and, like, donning their robes, leading up to the sacrifice, originally it was shown that Daniel was going to start drinking more, because he's obviously drinking the whole time trying to, cope.
Mm-hmm.
And Adam Brody was like, that doesn't make sense. I need to be sobering up at that point, because that's when he's going to help her. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so he kind of pushed them to put the opposite in and show him kind of trying to sober up instead of get more drunk. And I like that.
Cute.
Yeah.
I liked that he also mentioned, oh, well, she has a soul.
Mm-hmm. Like, literally.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, that was a good one. That I
Yeah.
thought that they were gonna, like, be vampires or something. I was like, oh, they're vampires. Because they also had a few weird, like, mirror shots throughout the
Oh.
movie. I don't know if you
Okay.
noticed that or not, but they did
Mm-mm.
do. There were, like, 3 or 4 mirror shots.
Yeah.
And I thought for sure, like, oh, they were gonna find out that they can't see themselves in the mirrors because they're vampires or something. I don't know.
Oh.
But I had vampire on the brain.
Yeah, that's interesting. When I saw this for the first time, I had already seen the trailers and everything,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of already hinted that the family was just going to be hunting her down during this game.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't trying to figure out the mystery of the family. So it's kind of fun to go in blind, and you were looking for things that I didn't notice because I wasn't looking for anything.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's much more fun to see a horror movie without having seen the trailer first.
I agree. I try not to. But sometimes they put them right in front of my salad when I'm trying to watch another horror movie.
Just need to walk in 15 minutes after the movie starts.
I know. I think it's 20 at my theater, which maybe
Ugh.
explains why I see more trailers than you.
Yeah, you do see more trailers than I do.
It's because they give us an extra 5 minutes of them.
Yeah, it's terrible. So
I
many
know.
trailers.
Before Longlegs, it was 25 minutes.
Holy shit.
Yeah. We were audibly groaning when they kept going. Like, another one would play, and you could just hear the whole theater go, oh my god.
Oh my god. Terrible.
Yeah, that was a lot.
And that movie was already longer than it needed to be.
Longlegs?
Yeah.
Oh. I didn't feel like it was too long.
It was like 20 minutes too long.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I feel like the pacing was off, but not because it was too long.
Mm.
I felt like the third act was kind of rushed, if anything. Anyways, we did
I'm
the
pretty
whole
sure I
episode on
made a
that,
comment.
so-
I'm pretty sure I made a comment in the episode about how perfect of a length it was, but in hindsight, I think it was too long. Because I wanted to go see it again, but
Right.
then I was like, oh god, do I have to sit through it all again?
Oh, God. Well, you know. I also rate movies 4 out of 5 when I don't want to see them again.
I want to see it again. It just felt like a commitment. You know?
Yeah, yeah. Also kind of foreshadowing, which is what we were talking about before Longlegs. I like that there's that old tradition or superstition of not seeing the bride before the wedding, and they see each other, like he sees her in her dress before the wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Which is supposed to symbolize bad luck.
Oh, yeah.
And what did they have if not bad luck?
Well, she had pretty good luck. She lived.
Well, I think the years and years of therapy and or jail are going to be not so great for her.
Yeah. Not everybody wants
Yeah.
to go to jail.
No. I would say most people.
To each their own, I suppose.
Most intelligent people.
I just today on Twitter saw X, whatever.
It's Twitter.
It's Twitter. Saw somebody post a picture of her in her dress before her wedding saying, fuck it, I really need to show somebody this dress. Which I was like, you go, girl.
All right.
I also seek validation from strangers on the internet.
Who doesn't? Mm-hmm. These days.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
The guts and explosion sediment were made out of bananas and jelly.
Yum. Not
Fun
for
little
you.
Snacks. No, I don't. I hate bananas.
I love bananas.
And then the blood splatter was caramel syrup, which Samara Weaving said tasted delicious.
Yeah. That sounds like a fantastic combination.
Yeah, seriously.
Bring ice cream to set. Go crazy.
Seriously. Yeah, right? Don't waste it. Just like scrape it off the walls. I love
They just walk in on me filming that movie and I'm just licking the walls.
lickable wallpaper. One of my favorite desserts is literally jelly on ice cream.
Oh.
Seedless raspberry jelly. Pop it in the microwave until it's thin, and then pour it on top of vanilla ice cream. So fucking good.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's real good. Highly recommend. I'm gonna have some immediately after this call.
Great. Happy for you.
Thank you. Me too. Sounds really good.
What other fun facts?
Samara Weaving didn't know how to drive before this movie.
Yeah.
They had to teach her,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Well. She's Australian.
And a Nepo baby.
They don't drive in Australia.
Or when you're a Nepo baby.
That's common knowledge.
Australians have never seen cars in their lives.
No. They haven't been invented there yet.
She had to go all the way to Canada.
Yeah, just to learn how to drive. Don't we have listeners in Australia? I'm just kidding. I hope they know that.
We do have listeners in Australia.
Great. Love you. Cunts. They love that word.
I don't know.
Oh,
I hope
okay.
so. They don't in some places. I hope that's not one of them.
I'm almost positive they love the word cunt in Australia, so.
Okay, good.
With love. Cunts.
Oh my god. When we're traveling and we're doing like the hostel thing, the Australians are always the nicest people. And the people that I keep, not you.
I thought the way you said it made it sound like a future. Like when we're traveling and we do the hostel thing. You know what I mean? Like it made it sound
Yeah.
Me and you are going to be traveling doing the hostel thing.
No.
And that's why I had that adverse reaction, because I don't do that.
When in my past, I have traveled with my husband, and we have done the thing where we stay in hostels with other people. The Australians that we have met have been my favorite, and I keep in contact with all of them.
I love that.
Well, really, they keep in contact with me is what it is. It's nice.
All that to say, we love Australians. We can't help it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Last fun fact for me.
Oh, I have like 10 more. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just going to wrap it up, Just been yapping this whole time. They sourced all of the taxidermy heads. You can delete it now. From the same place.
I don't have it.
Oh, really?
I don't have it.
Okay. Well, they got all of the taxidermy animal heads from the same place, and the bear holding the goat's head in its mouth came like that. It was already like that. They just found it and said, put that in the house.
I mean, I really do like going to like Cabela's and Bass Pro Shop and Shields and stuff just to look at the taxidermy.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a beautiful art form.
I mean, you can't really see it, but I have a taxidermy mouse on my shelf behind me, so.
Responsibly sourced.
Responsibly sourced.
Not hunted.
And it's got the flower dress from Midsummer on it. So.
That was a great gift. A perfect one.
I screamed.
I bet you did. Oh, man, I wish you'd recorded yourself.
Yeah, I lost my mind a little bit when I opened that.
Yeah. I'll narrow it down to one more.
Oh, okay. You can go crazy if you want. Just rapid fire all of your facts.
Okay, I will. I'll just go through the rest of them. All right. So Samara accidentally hit Andie MacDowell, who plays Becky, Grace's mother-in-law, during rehearsals in their fight scene.
Yeah.
And Samara thought she was going to be fired.
Yeah.
But Andie just asked for some ice, and they kept rehearsing.
Great.
Margot Robbie was considered for the role of Grace.
Mm-hmm.
The crossbow experts in the YouTube video that the brother-in-law was watching on the toilet were played by the writers of the film, Guy Busick and R. Christopher Murphy.
Hmm.
James Vanderbilt, one of the producers, played Mr. LaBelle, that last little scene of him like doing the little nod. And then director Matt Bettinelli-Olpin was the voice of the driver in the sports car.
Wow.
Rapid fire, baby.
Those weren't even the ones that I thought you were going to say, so.
What do you think I was going to say? You have more?
All rapid fire, yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Searchlight asked them not to go crazy with the fog, and they just said, we got a little carried away. We love fog.
Cute.
Put it everywhere. The MPAA requested they translate the Latin so that they could properly rate the film, because they were like, if we don't know what it says, we don't know if it's just...
What if it says fuck in Latin?
Fuck, over and over and over again. And then they submitted nearly 200 fictional board game names, and only 8 were cleared by the legal department.
Oh.
Yeah.
Speaking of Searchlight, this was also distributed by Disney, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like a Disney movie, but you know what?
No.
Props to them.
Yeah.
Cute.
Should we rate?
Yeah, let's rate it.
All right.
How sexy did you think it was? You know what? No, I always go first. You go first.
Yeah, but I like you going first on the overall.
Okay, how sexy did you think it was?
That's not even what we start with.
You're right. How scary did you think it was?
I gave it a 1 out of 5.
Okay.
It's tone.
Yeah.
It's a blast. I don't think it's that scary when people are hunting you if they're like fumbling coke addicts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about you?
I also gave it a 1.
Yeah.
I think it could have been scary. I would have liked it more if it was a little scarier.
Yeah.
If they kind of like leaned into the suspense a little bit more. But
Fair.
as it stands, it was not scary at all. It was a romp.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a romp for sure. How sexy did you think it was?
A 2. I give it a 2.
Yeah.
For the cast. All of them. Honestly.
Great.
And the like wedding night of it all.
Amazing.
Yeah. What about you?
I give it a 2.5
Oh, okay.
for Samara Weaving, Adam Brody, and then the girl being covered in blood at the end.
Yep.
Just awakened something in me. I don't know. I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How fucked up did you think it was?
I give it a 2.
Okay.
Half a point for the hand nail,
Okay.
and then half a point for the various scenes of the choking on the blood.
Oh.
It was the gurgling sounds that I was like, that's a lot.
Okay.
What about you?
I only gave it a 1.5.
Okay.
Just for the nail in the hand hole. But no, just the gurgling I thought was pretty standard horror movie stuff. It just
Yeah.
didn't, you don't
just a
see
lot
a
of it.
nail go through a bullet hole very often.
That's true.
Yeah.
Overall, what'd you give it?
I gave it a 4. It was such a romp. It didn't take itself too seriously, nailed the tone. There were some really funny laugh out loud moments, which it's been a while since we've had one of those. And this is, like I said, by far the funniest movie. I loved Samara Weaving. She did a very good job. I loved her screaming. The only reason I gave it a 4 and not higher was because I did get a little tired of just like how much she went through. Around the time like the car accident happened, I was like, oh my God. I wish they had used that time to build a little bit more suspense and like lean into the murderous game of hide and seek. Because the amount of humor was perfect. I loved like everything else was perfect. It just felt like it was less hide and seek and more run around the house, you know?
Yeah. It's fair.
Yeah.
Nice.
What'd you give it?
I give it a 4 out of 5.
Cute.
Yeah, I think this movie slaps. It's funny, great acting. I feel like it's very, it does its characters very well. Like the people who are just there to be funny are funny. The people who are kind of supposed to be intimidating are intimidating. You end up loving Daniel by the end. You end up hating Alex by the end. And you're rooting for Grace the entire time, you know? And again, I feel like they did a good job at almost immediately creating a very iconic final girl. And yeah. I don't necessarily have your issue of like, it has to be scary and funny. Because for me, I feel like that's almost impossible to do. Because once I'm laughing, I'm already at ease. So I don't know how they could like put me at unease.
Yeah. That's fair.
But I guess when you're being this over the top funny. But anyways, I love this movie. It's a great time.
So fun.
So much fun. Would you survive?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't have the will to live that Grace has.
Great.
Also, I'm not running. I'm just hiding.
Okay.
And that didn't work for her.
It didn't. Really didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I'm dead.
Well, it's unfortunate.
Are you joining me in death?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm out of practice. I haven't played hide and seek in years. Yeah, no, she goes through so much. And she doesn't really make super bad choices either,
Mm-hmm.
which I kind of like.
You're right. She doesn't.
I know, so it's kind of. I might have booked it out of there a little bit faster once Daniel actually decided to help. But would I have made it even that far? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think if she had died earlier, he wouldn't have stopped it.
Right.
I almost think it was because she fought so hard. It gave him that time to realize. And I think one of the key moments was in the goat house when, like, the little kid's like, of course I shot her. That's what you guys are trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And the mom's proud of him for
Yeah.
doing that. And I think that was, like, definitely a click moment where he was like, this is so fucked. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we're so beyond saving.
Yeah.
And that is pretty much when he decided, because right after that is when... I mean, he knocks her out, but he does that because he knows his dad is watching, so
Yeah.
he has to.
And like, when he says, I didn't know I was going to help you either.
Yeah. I think that was the moment he decided in the forest.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew, if I don't knock her out and think of a plan B, my dad's there, he's going to kill her anyway, so...
Yeah.
Might as well give her a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So much character development.
I know. I love Daniel.
Yeah.
I was so sad he died.
Compared to his character in Jennifer's Body, ugh.
Yeah, still hot, but, like, glad he died in that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell me what's next week.
Okay. Wait, can I say one more thing about Ready or Not?
Yeah.
Okay, one thing that I almost kind of wish that they would have done is when we get that flashback at the beginning of the two boys, and one of them's put into hiding, and then the other one, well, Alex is put into hiding, and then Daniel, like, tattles and says that the guy's here.
Yeah.
I both like that and almost wish they would have done it differently, because I like it because obviously it shows that character arc of Alex hero to villain and then Daniel villain to hero.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of almost wish they hadn't named them in the flashback, and then it was, like, revealed that the one who tattled was actually Alex when that reveal happened. That way you're like, oh no, he kind of always sucked.
Yeah, that would have been cute.
Right? I kept thinking that was, like, what was good. Well, no, I didn't, because they named them. But I kept thinking that in the theater watching it. I was like, oh, I wish that they almost would have done that.
Yeah, that would have been cute.
Yeah. But then does it kind of diminish the character development that they go through? Maybe. So.
I don't think so.
Anyways, okay, now let's talk about next week's movie.
Okay.
Okay, so next week, we're going to be talking about a new movie that's coming out, Cuckoo.
Cuckoo.
Yeah.
Hunter Schafer.
Hunter Schafer.
Love her.
Same.
She's, like, exploding on the scene right now.
Yeah.
She's all over the place. Okay, Cuckoo is about a woman who visits her, moves back. She goes to college and then she comes home, moves back in with her family.
Mm-hmm.
And her family is abusive.
Oh.
And the main girl, played by Hunter Schafer, is personifying that abuse with a imagined monster / apparition woman person.
Mm-hmm.
That's got, like, blood all over her face.
Oh.
So she's having visions of this woman.
Yeah.
And it's the personification of the abuse that her family is inflicting upon her.
Got it.
And it's not until she leaves the family that the apparitions stop.
Mm.
And she really thinks that the apparitions are trying to kill her because her family is, like, literally trying to kill her. But she escapes. She leaves the house.
Oh, that's good.
And the family is never to be heard from or seen again. And neither is the apparition.
Great. Happy ending.
Yep.
Cool.
Well, it's a little bleak. but
It's a little bleak. Well, yeah, the whole
She
thing
doesn't-
sounds fucking bleak. But
yeah, she doesn't die.
Great.
Yep.
Okay. I haven't seen it, so I can't tell you if you're
Well,
right
are
or
you
not.
gonna guess too?
Sure. Do you want me to guess it? Just open ear?
Yeah, I mean, I saw the same trailer you saw.
Okay. So Hunter Schafer stars a teenager, and she is going to live with her dad, not her mom. That's what I gathered. So she goes to live with her dad instead of her mom, who she was previously living with. But what I'm gathering, I think that she has previously had some sort of like mental health concerns. There's one part of the trailer where she says something about like, it's happening again, mom. And so I think
Ooh.
she's previously dealt with stuff. So I think that might be my only critique of this movie, if that is the route that they go through. Because I'm not really a big fan of like, oh, they're already crazy, so nobody believes them when weird shit starts happening.
Mhm.
But anyways.
Yeah.
So I think shit starts to go down. I think it's one of those, like this town weird shit happens at night. Because then there's a part of the trailer where she's like, how come nobody runs the register after 10 p.m.? So I think it's something like that. and then nightfall happens, weird shit goes down, and I think it's going to end up sort of being like culty a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah, because there's then another scene. I'm getting all of this from the trailer. There's like another scene where she's like in a room and a voice is telling her, oh, you're going to help us solve these issues or something like that. So I think they're taking people and maybe putting them through some sort of like test or messing with them somehow to help their cause. Maybe I think it's going to be a little supernatural, but this is what I'm gathering. And I think her mom and like anybody who doesn't know that this is happening, her dad might be in on it, but her mom's not going to believe her because she's already had issues. That's what I think.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's my guess.
Well, we'll see
We'll find out next week.
next week.
If you're listening to this, it's going to be like a month for us.
Yeah, the movie's not even out yet.
No, it's not. For us. I think if you're listening to this, it might already be out.
Oh.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, it is already out.
Oh, wow, okay.
So you can tell us if we were right or not.
Yeah, go see it and then tell us in the comments.
In the comments, tell us how fucking stupid we are.
Just spoil the whole movie, in fact.
Yeah. Great.
Well, fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see it.
Could be good.
Could be good.
It doesn't
Could be
look
ass.
stupid.
No, I think it looks good, and early reviews have been pretty positive, so I'm looking forward to seeing it. And
Yeah.
again, I like Hunter Schafer. I think she's great.
Yeah, she's
So-
done a really good job in everything she's been in, so I can't imagine that the acting will be bad, at least.
Yeah. Nice.
All right.
Well, we will see you then. Thank you for listening.
Thanks. Don't
Feel free to like and subscribe.
that. Yes, please. I was going to say
You
don't
said
forget. Don't forget.
Don't do that.
You interrupted me. I was going to say don't forget to like and subscribe.
Please.
Please. Please. Prove I'm right.
There you go. Sabrina Carpenter.
Live.
She likes and subscribe. No, I'm just kidding. All right, cool. We'll see you then. Thank you.
Thanks. I'll even see-
Bye.
Oh, bye. Bye.
Bye.